Ashley here with Pro and Process Counseling. I'm not gonna lie, this is like the fourth or fifth time I've attempted to shoot this video, and I don't know when you're watching this, but right now we're in the middle of the stay-at-home order for COVID-19, and so everyone's home and everyone keeps filing in as I try to do this. So be aware there could be interruptions. Also, this is my day off situation, so I look, this is my mom uniform, covered in stains, children's tears, probably sweat. I'm sure you can empathize with being a walking napkin if you're a parent. And I'm hoping you can empathize today with the analogy I have for you, because this analogy has really settled in with me, and I have felt such conviction around this. Especially, it feels like it's been highlighted during this time of the pandemic, and what it has required of me, and I know it's required of my clients and friends. So I want to start by just saying today's the analogy I am sharing is really centered on the flow of energy. And one thing I want to say about that is that pouring out energy isn't a bad thing. We pour out energy because we love someone or we're committed to them. So I often am working with people who will say, it's not that I don't love my kids, I just feel tired. And there's almost a sense of guilt around the fact that they're tired. And I have to constantly remind them, well, of course you're tired. You're pouring yourself out. You're pouring out energy. And energy is a limited resource. We don't have unlimited energy. That's why we require sleep, right? So today, this picture of water, this water is going to represent our energy level. And this, let's just say, is the amount of energy you would have after a full night's sleep, like 8 to 9 hours, okay? So this is the amount of energy that I might wake up with after a solid night's sleep. Now, I've printed off some images that represent different spaces that require me to pour out energy. Again, this isn't like I feel bad, that I'm not complaining that I'm pouring out energy. I'm admitting, like, I pour out energy into these spaces because I care, either from a sense of commitment, which again is rooted in love, or again, like my children, I love them. That's why I pour out energy, to support them and nurture them. So you might be able to really engage and understand and even sympathize with some of these pictures. You might say, oh, that is a space where I'm required to show up as well. Or you might have completely other images you would have printed off, and that's fine too. This really works for all of us. We all have limited energy. So I'm going to kind of walk you through the last 48 hours, I've just gathered different representations of spaces I've been in tune with. But lately I would want to say that I wake up early and engage in reflection and prayer, because that's my ideal, but I've not been doing that. I haven't been able to. I've been working so much. I don't know about you, but this whole quarantine situation has me working double in almost every role that I have ever shown up as. So it feels like I'm working double as a therapist, and double as a mother, and double as a partner, and double as a housekeeper, because we are always here. So it just feels like I'm doubled. I need to be doubled all of the time. So I sleep in. I've been sleeping in during this time. And I'm usually woken up by a little girl climbing into bed with me. So this represents Summer, and she likes to kind of crawl in bed with me. And it's not that she's asking for much initially, but just opening my eyes and turning over and being present to another body in my bed, who I know ultimately will need me. It requires some energy. So I pour out my energy, tell her how much I love her, check in and see how her night was, encourage her, tell her she's my favorite 4-year-old. Then we go get Samuel out of his crib. This represents Samuel. I change his diaper, I encourage him, I tell him he's my favorite 2-year-old in the whole wide world. And then we come downstairs and I prepare breakfast. And usually that results in about a 10-minute dialogue about what our options are and what our options are not. So that usually requires some energy when you're negotiating with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. So then I cooked breakfast. And yesterday, as I was cooking breakfast, I realized we have nothing. We're out of eggs, we're out of bread, we're out of milk. So I had to go to the grocery store and get some of those items. That took a lot of energy. Shopping in the midst of a global pandemic is not easy, and it requires a lot of energy. Then I got home and realized I hadn't cleaned the kitchen from breakfast. I hadn't done the dishes, swept the floor, etc. So I cleaned up from our morning session in the kitchen, which was then shortly after followed by lunch. So I made lunch for everyone. In the middle of lunch, Samuel had a tantrum because I didn't buy the right kind of cereal he wanted. So had to kind of parent through that. Then I loaded the kids in the stroller and went on a jog. I pushed all 75, 80 pounds of them up a hill and ran around the rec center, and that was exhausting. Good for me though. I know I need to exercise because it's so important for my mental health, so I do it. Then I realized when I got home that I had forgotten to text my best friend back. She had texted me about something important, and I felt terrible. So that didn't take much energy, but it certainly required some thought. And so I texted my best friend back. Again, that's not saying like, oh, this required energy from me in a bad way. It requires energy from me because it matters to me. Then I realized while I had my phone that I hadn't replied to my work emails. In fact, I had neglected to actually follow up with some clients who really needed me. So I began working. And I worked, and I worked, and I worked, and I worked. Then I realized that Baylor, my sweet puppy, had been neglected, and we had not played with him for probably the entire last 2 months outside of our backyard, if that even really counts. So we took Baylor on a little walk to the park to play fetch. If you've ever taken a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old and a lab who pulls on a leash to the park to play fetch, you know that that required quite a bit of energy. Then it was time to cook dinner. So I came home and I cooked dinner. And then in the midst of that, Summer had a meltdown because she didn't like what I was cooking. So I parented that. Again, I'm not doing this alone. My husband is doing this as well. He has his own set of cups and his own set of water and aptitude. He's amazing. In fact, most of the time he's more nurturing than I am, but he has limitations as well. So we parent the 2 kids and we feed everyone dinner, and then I usually clean up. And then we do bedtime. We do it together, but it definitely requires energy, bath, bedtime, the whole deal. Then my husband is so gracious and so kind to remind me that I need to take a bath or something and take care of myself. And I try to do that, also realizing that our marriage matters. So I have to also save energy for my marriage. So I have this much energy to use to distribute between me and my partner. And usually I feel guilty taking care of myself when I know I need to reserve energy to connect with him. And so I do this. Kind of do this, and even this, because I know it's limited and I'm thinking so much about it, is kind of numbed out. It's not even genuine. And then this is all I have left for self-care, and it's just kind of messy, right? Like, he deserves way more than that. So this is kind of how my day ends, really. I've distributed all of my energy. I'm going to get a steward of my energy, and that's my responsibility. We all get to take responsibility for our own energy, our own limitations, and we need to steward it wisely. I don't know if you're anything like me. You wake up and you're like, oh, I can go and I can do, and all of a sudden you've cleaned your house and you've did this amazing craft with your kids, and you've exercised, and then at the end of the day your partner's there and they get the fumes, and that's not fair. It's not the way life works, at least not in a healthy way. So this is kind of right now, I'm super convicted about this, and I'm working to make some changes in my own life that will really honor the flow of energy, my limitations. So you'll be hearing more about that soon. I'm going to take this opportunity to share again. I'll put this in the description, Connecting in Chaos. I got my first copy. This is a book that I just put out, and it's fitting considering the fact that I'm really present to the little energy I have for my partner once we get the kids down. This is all about fostering connection in the midst of chaos. So somehow between each of pouring of these, you remember to go and pour into your marriage, essentially, is how that would look. So I hope this has been helpful, and that hopefully as you watch me pour things in, you're like, oh yeah, I do that too. And hopefully we can consider a different way of being, a different way of showing up, a different way of stewarding our energy in a way that would really kind of encourage and support our entire family system, because if we don't kind of deal with our own issues of stewardship and our own energy distribution, then our kids and our partner will be the people who pick up on the anxiety that is the result of that. So I hope this has been helpful, and I look forward to providing more videos for you in the near future. Thanks so much.